In San Diego tonight, the 2008 regular season will end with a flourish as the Chargers battle the Broncos for a trip to the playoffs on NBC's Sunday Night Football.
Sunday night, baby!
Broncos Chargers.
Got it.
She's on her way.
Tonight is the night. It's now all or nothing.
It's win or go home.
Sunday night, here we go. Blast on the lights for the ultimate show. Get on your feet, it's about to explode. Hey Jack, it's a fact, the game's back in town. Broncos and the Chargers in a nasty showdown. Stadium's rocking, time to crank up the sound. The NFL's best have come to play. For every fan, there's just one thing left to say. I've been waiting all day for Sunday night. The tough get rough in the primetime fight. More than a game, it's every fan's right. 'Cause I've been waiting all day for Sunday night.
LaDainian Tomlinson will go all the way for the touchdown.
Boy, is he fun to watch.
To the end zone, Brandon Marshall, touchdown.
Sunday night football on NBC. Al and John are the best on TV. Players are ready, set the big boys free. 'Cause the NFL rocks on NBC.
A perfect night, 58 degrees, clear skies, 70,000 fans roaring their appreciation as their San Diego Chargers come out onto the field at Qualcomm Stadium, ready to take on Jay Cutler and the Denver Broncos on NBC's Sunday Night Football. Al Michaels, John Madden, Andrea Kramer, welcome to the final game of the regular season. In effect, a playoff game. The winner faces Indianapolis in the playoffs next week. The loser is done. The Broncos have been all alone in first place in the AFC West the entire season, so they are trying to avoid a collapse of historic proportions. Their quarterback, Jay Cutler, will go to the Pro Bowl. They've had 7 running backs placed on injured reserve this season, but they're still running the ball fairly effectively. The problems have been defense, they're ranked 28th, and special teams. Tonight they face the Chargers, a team trying to go from last rice to the playoffs. They were 4-8 at the beginning of the month. They have never been at the 500 mark, but they come into this game favored to win the game, healthier than they've been all season long, and coming off arguably their best performance of the season when they beat Tampa Bay in Florida last week. And John, when you look at the Chargers, they were a legitimate Super Bowl contender at the beginning of the season. They were probably the most disappointing team in the league a month ago, but now they've won 3 straight. How have they turned it around?
Well, I think the thing is, if you're going to peak and play your best football, you want to be doing it right now. And that's what the Chargers are doing. I think Phillip Rivers is playing as well as he's ever played right now. And as you mentioned, some of those guys that were injured, LT is starting to get back. Antonio Gates is coming back healthy again. The offensive line is getting healthy. The defense is playing more aggressively now. They're pressing the line of scrimmage. They're doing more blitzing. They've had 8 turnovers in the last 3 games. And then the one big ingredient that they have that we don't always talk about is special teams. They have some of the best special teams in the NFL and one of the best returners in Darren Sproles. He is something special.
And the Broncos know that. He had a big day in week 2 in Denver. Meanwhile, if the Broncos lose tonight's game, they will have a horrendous aftertaste for the next 7 months until training camp opens in 2009. How do they avoid that? How do they win this game?
Well, they're going to have to throw the ball. It was funny, Jay Cutler came into our meeting last night and he says right off the bat, he said, I'm going to have to throw it 60 or 70 times. And maybe that's an exaggeration, but maybe not. I mean, you don't have a top defense. You don't have a top running game. Okay, how are you going to win the game? You're going to win it by throwing it? Who's going to throw it? Jay Cutler. He has to have a big night tonight.
Crowd is already wild. What a way to end the season. Winner take all in effect as the Denver Broncos take on the San Diego Chargers on NBC.
NBC Sports, home of Super Bowl 43, welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
These two teams met in the final game of the 2007 season, the Monday nighter last year here, Christmas Eve. A lot of jawboning going on. You saw Phillip Rivers and Jay Cutler going at it. And that's been one of the subplots to this game. A lot of quotes being thrown back and forth all week long as you take a look at the two quarterbacks. Andrew, you talked to both guys. How much of this is real?
Well, Al, Rivers downplayed the incident, telling me he was baffled by all the attention it generated. He said he had nothing personal toward Cutler, who he called a heck of a player. But Cutler can't let it slide. He said their personalities clash, and he took Rivers yelling at him very personally.
I thought it was uncalled for. I thought there was no room for it. I don't think I would do that to another opposing quarterbacks. I think there's kind of fraternity amongst us, and we try to respect each other. Obviously, during a game you want to win, and there's a lot of emotions. But I thought he crossed the line.
So I asked Cutler, doesn't this all seem pretty childish? And he agreed it did, but he added, apologize for anything he said or done, nor would he try to make peace with his counterpart. He said that's up to Rivers.
And the two men at midfield a couple of minutes ago for the coin toss. One thing about Cutler, he is as open and honest and direct as any quarterback John and I have talked to through the years. We mentioned that to Mike Shanahan, his coach, last night. He laughed and he said, yeah, we're working on that.
Well, Mike Shanahan didn't want to hear that, but Jay Cutler, I think, is something special. I mean, he has something on his mind, and he's going to tell it to you, whether you're a broadcaster, you're a teammate, or you're his coach.
San Diego won the toss. They've elected to receive, and here we go with the final playoff spot on the line. The kick fielded by Darren Sproles at the 3. Sproles up past the 20. And taken down up at the 30-yard line by Carl Pema as we take a look at the San Diego starters.
Phillip Rivers, NC State. LaDainian Tomlinson, TCU.
Chris Chambers, Wisconsin Badgers.
Vincent Jackson, Northern Colorado. Antonio Gates, Detroit Central High School.
Brandon Monomalayuna, Arizona.
Marcus McNeil, Auburn.
Chris Dillman, Indiana.
Nicholas Hardwick, Purdue.
Mike Goff, University of Iowa.
Jeremy Clary, Kansas State University.
San Diego at the 30. If San Diego wins tonight, they would have an 8-8 record. So would the Broncos. But the tiebreak would be division record, where San Diego would win that. Tomlinson then hands the ball to Vincent Jackson. And the first play for the Chargers is an end around by Jackson, who picks up 17 yards and a first down up at the 47-yard line. Run out by Champ Bailey and Vernon Fox.
Norv Turner was talking about Denver's defense. Watch how quickly they pursue. You give them something going one way, and they all go that way, and he wanted to run this counter stuff. Rivers was trying to throw a block out there. Rivers was out in front of it.
Only Jackson's third rush of the season.
But I think the Bronco defense is going to see a lot of that. They'll give you a look going one way and then counter.
Jackson's their leading receiver. He's caught 57, and now Tomlinson for a first down, but there's a penalty. John Parry is the official tonight. He got in behind a Hester block, but the call is against San Diego.
Holding, number 22 offense. 10-yard penalty. Replay. First down.
Called it on Hester.
And that was another counter type of thing. LaDainian Tomlinson started to his right and cut back to his left. And again, it's the same thing. Watch him when he starts to the right. Get that defense going over there. And then look what happens when you come back to the other side. There's nothing there.
Meanwhile, you saw Champ Bailey, and there he is. Bailey missed 7 games with a groin pull. Got back, played last week, and now he's on the Denver bench again. Steve Antonopoulos, their longtime trainer, attending to him. Josh Bell, a rookie out of Baylor, who was with the Chargers in preseason, comes in to replace him. Now from the 37, the pass, reaching for it and making the catch, but no, one official overrules the other. Chris Chambers made the catch, and of course, this is all the crowd needs to have the first 2 calls of the night from the officiating crew, and albeit Ed Hockley's not here.
Right, and you see what happens is Champ Bailey goes out, Josh Bell goes in, so they throw right at him.
The line judge gets overruled as Bailey is still being attended to on the bench. So Josh Bell will be the target right now. You also have a rookie safety in Josh Barrett in there. So that 28th ranked defense with 2 rookies in the secondary. Rivers buys time. Rivers going deep downfield into double coverage, and the flag is thrown. 2 flags, in fact, as the pass was intended for Vincent Jackson. And now the crowd's going to love this because it's obviously defensive interference.
Pass interference. Number 58 defense. Not playing the ball. Automatic first down.
That's the middle linebacker all the way downfield, Nate Webster.
Right, that's at cover 2 when your middle linebacker has to get down to the deep post. You see Webster right there coming a little behind. That's pretty good coverage for Webster. All he had to do is keep his hands off him. Let the safety come in and make the play. The Mike, as he runs down the field, you just want to make the quarterback have to throw it over your head because you do have a safety in behind you.
Not often do you see the middle linebacker 52 yards downfield. And now Tomlinson gets swallowed up. Josh Bell will get credit for the tackle. 12. And let's go back and take a look at what happened to Champ Bailey. He got hurt, John, without any contact.
Yeah, and it's the same way he hurt that groin the first game. He said that, you know, he pulled or tore the groin and there was no contact. And it looked like he kind of did the splits there. And when you do the splits, it usually is a groin injury. And in Champ Bailey's case, it could be a groin re-injury.
And in Bailey's case, you're talking about a guy when healthy who's as good a cover corner as there is in the league. 2nd down and 12. Rivers under pressure, and he's going to get sacked at the 19-yard line by Ebenezer Ekubon, the former Cowboy, 10th year out of North Carolina. So the Chargers get pushed back, and it will be 3rd and long.
And again, this isn't real good pass protection. You watch the Broncos here just get a push on them. They get the ends coming up the field and then the push right in the middle. And they just push the pocket right back into Phillip Rivers.
3rd and 17. They have to get to the 1 for a first down. 6 defensive backs with Bailey on the bench. 3 wideouts. Rivers out of the gun against the 4-man rush. Throws over the middle, goes to Gates, who makes the catch at the 10-yard line. He's tackled by Marquand Manuel. So it's 4th down, and Nate Kading will come in to try to give San Diego an early 3-point lead. And Bailey will jog back to the Broncos locker room. Kading now in his 5th year out of Iowa. This is a 28-yard attempt. Mike Cyphers to put it down. And Nate Kading has given the Chargers the lead. But the Chargers have gone all 16 games this year without scoring a touchdown on their first drive. Get 3 here, 3-0. 58-degree night in Southern California. Left elbow is the word on Champ Bailey, so it had nothing to do with his groin. It's the left elbow, and they are saying from the Denver sideline his return is questionable.
Geez, that's strange because, you know, the groin you can see with no contact. How you get an elbow injury with no contact, it's tough to see, but when you saw him jog off the field, that was a pretty good sign.
Here's Chad Jackson, and this is his first run back of the season. As Mike Shanahan makes a switch, Jackson runs it back to the 27, and the wild card weekend is set. On NBC next Saturday, Atlanta takes on Arizona, 4:30 Eastern time, and then Indianapolis will be in Denver or San Diego for our late game, 8 o'clock Eastern time next Saturday. Sunday, Baltimore, Miami on CBS at 1 o'clock Eastern time, and then wild card weekend wraps with Philadelphia going to Minnesota on Fox at 4:30 Eastern time. So the matchups are set, the lineups are set. All that's to be determined is where Indy goes, and the first pass is caught by Eddie Royal, who's had a tremendous rookie year, but Sean Phillips is right there to greet him. I'll say
You see what they did? Sean Phillips is a linebacker, and he just walks out. Now, look what they have here. They have a guy here and a guy back here. Here's Sean Phillips. He's looking in here, and the first guy comes here. The second guy, Royal, comes back. Sean Phillips didn't go for anything.
Loss of 4. Cutler throwing, and that is caught by Tony Scheffler, the tight end who's averaging over 16 yards a catch. He has 2 touchdowns this season. Both came in the game against San Diego and Denver. That's a 16-yard gain and a first down for Denver.
You know, last night when we were talking to Jay Cutler, you know, he kept saying Tony Scheffler, Tony Scheffler. He has to win his battles. If it's a zone, he has to win that battle. If it's man-to-man, he has to beat the safeties. He said he is going to be a big, big part of our game plan.
And this pass is incomplete, intended for Brandon Marshall. Let's take a look at the Denver starters.
Jay Cutler, Vanderbilt. Tatum Bell, DeSoto High School.
Brandon Marshall, wide receiver University, UCF.
Eddie Royal, Virginia Tech.
Daniel Graham, Colorado.
Tony Scheffler, Western Michigan.
Brian Quilly, Boise State.
Ben Hamilton, Minnesota.
Casey Wickman, Iowa.
Chris Cooper, North Dakota.
Ryan Harris, Notre Dame.
Tatum Bell, who was released by Detroit last year and then picked up by Denver, is the running back. The pass goes to the outside, and that is caught by Daniel Graham, the tight end, and he'll be stopped just shy of the 50-yard line and just shy of a first down. It'll be 3rd down and 1.
You notice all the formations we're seeing. That's a Mike Shanahan thing. He has a first 15 plays script, and he's going to show you a different formation on just about every one of those 15 plays to see you how you play it, how you adjust to it, then he decides what he's going to do next to you.
3rd and 1. And they give the ball to Bell. Bell was with Denver for 3 years, gained over 1,000 yards in 06. First down, let's take a look at the San Diego defense.
Luis Castillo, Northwestern.
Jamal Williams, Oklahoma State.
Sean Phillips, Purdue.
Stephen Cooper, Maine.
Tim Dobbins, Iowa State.
Giles Tucker, Wake Forest University.
Quentin Jammer,
Texas.
Clinton Hart, South Sumter High School.
Eric Weddle, Utah.
Antonio Cromartie, Florida State.
The Charger pass defense next to last in the league, and this is Cutler who's going to try to run with it, but he won't go anywhere because Igor Olshansky is there delivering a left cross.
Right, one of the things Jay Cutler told us last night is in the first 15 plays, he has 2 quarterback draws. Here's the first one. He's going to do it with a lead and a draw. Olshansky didn't go for it. That's a tough play. They're always going to have runs in for Jay Cutler, and most of the time it's a bootleg, you know, where he fakes and then goes to the other side. But they said against a 3-4, it's tough to run.
2nd and 12, protection is good, and the pass to the outside is caught by Brandon Stokely as he takes it to the 36-yard line, tackled by the safety Paul Oliver, and a first down for Denver.
You know, San Diego brings Antoine Applewhite. You can see there, and he just kind of comes and plays this position here. It's like a joker, and he just stays kind of right in front of Cutler, watches him. If he doesn't run, then he comes on a delayed blitz type of thing. It was very, very effective last week.
At the 35, out of the shotgun, a little toss to Bell. Bell cuts it back. He's inside the 30, and Tatum Bell with some tough running to the 26-yard line. Bell, as I mentioned, 1,000 yards in 06 for Denver. Then they sent him to Detroit in a trade. He only lasted 5 games there. They waived him. He was out of football earlier this season. He was managing a cell phone kiosk in a suburban Denver mall. But the Broncos have 7 running backs on injured reserve, so Tatum, well, he got the call, no pun intended.
Right, and he's the guy that's been there before. I mean, he's a legitimate running back in the NFL. I mean, he was a 2nd-round draft choice, and he has some numbers.
And that is dropped by Marshall, and that's Brandon Marshall's 18th on-target drop this season, more than anybody else in the league. On the other side of that coin, he's also caught 98 balls.
You know, that's the thing, and that's why you keep throwing to him, because you know he's a big target. He's a great receiver. Doesn't always run the right route. Doesn't catch everything, but as you say, when you catch 98, you caught enough of them.
You know, Quentin Jammer went to the bench. The Chargers elite corner flexing his shoulder or arm. Cletus Gordon comes in to spell him. 3rd and inches. Here's Bell. Big hole inside the 20, inside the 10, into the end zone. From a cell phone kiosk to a touchdown in the biggest game of the season for the Broncos.
Right, the minute you say that they can't run, they're going to show you that they can. Watch Ben Hamilton, the left guard. He is going to pull around here, and he's going to lead the play, and he's going to come right back to the inside. Tatum Bell hits that hole, and again, any Denver running back will take one step and run the ball downhill. There is no side-to-side anything. You just take the ball straight up the field, and he did right off Ben Hamilton's block.
Matt Prater for the extra point. And there's no play here. The whistle sounded before the snap. Jason Elam, a long-time kicker. They let him go. Of course, he's now with Atlanta. Prater in his 2nd year.
Ball start. Number 73 offense. 5-yard penalty. Retry.
A touchdown by Bell is his first since opening day with Detroit last year.
I think the play calling mixture was great. We talked about the formations, but the run, the pass, the quarterback up under center, the quarterback in shotgun, the quarterback draw. I think the Broncos had great mixture on that drive.
The extra point is no good. Wow. He did it even though the play was whistled dead on the penalty, and now he misses this one. So Denver scores, but the lead is 6-3, not 7. On NBCSports.com and NFL.com, live coverage of the game and all kinds of enhancements. You can also help us vote for the horse trailer player of the game. Look at that shot. Sundown over the Pacific Ocean off the coast of San Diego. Denver on top 6-3. The Denver Broncos have scored 7 opening drive touchdowns this season, most in the league. As we mentioned, San Diego has now gone the entire year without scoring an opening drive touchdown. Sproles takes the kickoff from the 7-yard line out to the 27-yard line. That's where the Chargers will set up shop for their second drive. The missed extra point, and it's 6-3. Bailey, who they were telling us was questionable to return, is already back in the game. He hurt his left elbow. We'll get to it in a second here. He puts the sleeve around it, so he's back in. He'll cover Vincent Jackson as the Chargers begin this drive from the 27-yard line. Toss to LT, and Tomlinson puts his head down. It goes nowhere. Stopped by Bailey. And let's go back, John, and look at the Bailey play.
Well, we thought it was no contact, but you can see right there he starts to fall, and then he puts his left arm out there, and you can see the elbow got it right there. And he grabbed that left elbow just as he went to the ground.
Went to the locker room, comes back. It was x-rayed, and clearly the x-ray was negative. They're calling it a bruise. 2nd down 10 after no gain by Tomlinson. Rivers slings it to the outside. That's caught by Jackson. Nice spin move to turn a 5-yard gain into maybe a first down. Broke away from Champ Bailey.
And he will break away from a lot of defenders because he's so big. I mean, look at Vincent Jackson. He's 6'5", 230 pounds. And when he gets a ball in the open field and turns right here, he is going to pick up yards. And I tell you, he's a threat. He's a threat at that short pass. He's a threat at the medium pass. And he's a threat at the deep ball.
Sprung away, got the first down, 10-yard gain. 1st and 10 at the 37-yard line. A little over 6 minutes to play. The fake to LT. All night for Rivers, who then throws, and reaching out for it and making the grab at the 26-yard line is Vincent Jackson.
Right, and it all started with the play action. They even pulled the lineman, but that really held the defense. Watch the play action here, and watch the defense just kind of hold on the line of scrimmage, no pass rush, and that gave Vincent Jackson a time to get all the way over across the field and deep. And you see who's covering him? Champ Bailey. And at that point, when he caught the ball, or just before he caught it, he was running away from it.
37-yard gain, and now Rivers has to tuck it in. And he'll pick up a yard, getting it to the 25-yard line. Stopped there by the tackle, Dwayne Robertson. Rivers against the Broncos as a starter, 4-1 coming into tonight's game with 10 touchdowns and a 120 rating. He's had a great season. One more touchdown pass will tie Dan Fouts' long-standing Charger career record for TD throws.
Right, and he throws that one very well, that play-action pass, and North Turner is great at creating those situations for him.
That's a one-season mark. Fouts, of course, the record holder for a career as Tomlinson has room to the 16-yard line. Tackled there by D.J. Williams. The Denver defense, we talked about it at the open, 28th in the league. They have been sieve-like, and of course Mike Shanahan was able to beat the Chargers in week 2, but his defense gave up 38 points in the process.
Right, we talked to his defensive coordinator last night, Bob Slowick, and he said, we just hope to hold them to field goals. He said, we know that they're going to move the ball and they're going to complete passes and they're going to make runs, but when they get down to this area, we would just like to hold them to a field goal, and they did the first time.
3rd and 1, and that's Rivers, and a flag comes in as Rivers tried to get yard. John Parry, the referee. D.J. Williams may have come in late and gotten Rivers in the back. The line judge making the call.
Well, when the quarterback's a runner, he doesn't have those
Personal
protections.
Foul, number 55, defense. Late hit on the pile. Half the distance to the goal. Automatic first down.
Indeed, it is D.J. Williams.
Right, and when the quarterback sneaks, he has the rule of a running back, and of course you can't do what D.J. Williams doing. The play is over. The whistle had been blown, and he comes in there late with a hit. It's all over, and he comes in and gives Rivers the shoulder, the elbow, and a little helmet.
Already the 3rd penalty against Denver, and they've been costly. The pass interference call, setting up the San Diego field goal. This one giving them a 1st and goal at the 7-yard line, and the one prior to the missed extra point. Double tight end set. Manu Maliuna in the game. Lined up tight on the right side. Of course, Gates is the other tight end. Here's Tomlinson springing to the outside. Gets inside the 5 and works his way down to the 2-yard line where he's tackled by Champ Bailey. 2nd and goal for the Chargers.
LT has a little more juice in him. I was watching him at practice Friday, and I said, geez, he looks like a different guy than he was a month ago. And making these moves, making this turn right here, this cut, and ending the run like he did there is a different guy than we saw a month ago. Because a month ago, I didn't feel that he was finishing runs. And again, we go back to that toe and not cutting and pushing off and all those things.
2nd and goal.
This is their jumbo package.
Tomlinson again. And Tomlinson is in for a touchdown. And the Broncos berating the officials. They didn't think he got in. That's career rushing touchdown number 124, 2nd all-time behind Emmitt Smith for LaDainian Tomlinson.
Good lead block there. Mike Goff is off guard, pulls and gets a little push right there at the end to get Tomlinson to the goal line.
For Tomlinson, his 9th rushing touchdown of the season, 10th overall. Norv Turner watching Nate Kading trying to make it a 4-point game, and he does. 2:52 left in the opening quarter. The Chargers just went 73 yards in 8 plays and lead the Broncos 10-6. And it's all ready for Thursday, New Year's Day. The Detroit Red Wings and the Chicago Blackhawks, the Winter Classic at Wrigley Field in Chicago. That Pittsburgh-Buffalo game last year was sensational. If you love hockey, this is phenomenal. Even if you don't like hockey, you got to see this. Wrigley Field hosting the hockey game, Detroit and Chicago, 1 p.m. Eastern, New Year's Day. Kickoff taken by Chad Jackson. And he brings it back out to the 25-yard line. And the Denver Broncos will go to work at that spot after the Tomlinson touchdown gives San Diego a 10-6 lead. Well, infamous for the Chargers and terrific for the Broncos game at Mile High. Cutler 36 out of 50. 18 of those 36 completions that day went to Brandon Marshall, who had been suspended for the opener. So Marshall was making his 2008 debut, I'll say, with 18 catches. a lot of signs referring back to that Week 2 game as Cutler out of the shotgun throws, and they set up that bubble screen to Daniel Graham, and he picks up a first down on an 11-yard gain. Make it 10 now. They'll spot the ball right at the 35-yard line.
I think that Jay Cutler right now probably has more velocity on his ball than any quarterback in football. And he throws it, whether it's a bubble screen like that or an 18-yard out or comeback, he throws it with the same velocity. The ball does not stay in the air very long when it's coming from Jay Cutler.
From the 35-yard line, Cutler backing up, slings it to the outside, and through the hands of Eddie Royal, rookie out of Virginia Tech, who has had a tremendous season. Royal was the man who caught the touchdown pass and then the two-point conversion in that game against San Diego. Jay Cutler telling us yesterday he saw him like the second day of organized team activities, and he says, get that guy from field number 2 immediately to field number 1.
Over to field 1, and he knew that going into this season he had Brandon Marshall, and they needed another guy to go with Brandon Marshall. And when they saw Eddie Royal, he quickly became that guy.
Meanwhile, Bell can barely get out of the backfield. That's the big space eater. Jamal Williams, the 350 or so pound nose tackle, making the stop, 3rd and 9.
And it's always, anytime we see the Chargers play on defense and Jamal Williams, it's almost impossible, to run inside. There's no way that you can control him.
He's been to the Pro Bowl the last 3 years, but wasn't picked this season.
Well, he was banged up a little this season, but Jamal Williams is a Pro Bowl nose tackle.
Cutler, who will be going to the Pro Bowl, hangs in the pocket and then throws, and it's caught up at the 42-yard line by Tony Scheffler, but shy of the first down, 4th down, and Denver to punt.
And that's where the defense wins. I mean, you get them in long yardage, that's what you're trying to do, and then you keep them from getting a first down. You want to see a good young player? Look at this Ryan Clady here, the left tackle, set 78. He is one of the most impressive young pass protectors that I've seen.
Brett Kern, rookie punter, played his college ball at Toledo. Sends a line drive, end over end kick fielded by Sproles at the 20-yard line. And the dangerous Sproles gets bottled up at the 28. 43 seconds to play in the quarter. Let's take a look at San Diego, a record of 7-8 opening day loss to the Panthers on the last play of the game. Then, of course, the Ed Hockley call in week 2, so they start out 0-2. A 3-game November losing streak. They lost 5 out of 6. Then they come from behind, knock off Kansas City, beat Tampa, Buffalo beats Denver. So a team, as we said at the open, that's never been at 500, but all of a sudden on the cusp of getting into the playoffs, and then who knows? From the 28. Look at that time for Rivers again. Deep downfield, hauled in by Gates. Inside the 40, tackled by Champ Bailey at the 37-yard line.
You say, why does he have that kind of time? And again, it's the play action, and the Chargers use play action to throw deep. I mean, a lot of people use play action to fool the linebackers to throw underneath. The Chargers use it for maximum pass protection and get receivers deep.
Charger receivers have great hands. They've dropped only 15 on-target passes this season, fewest in the league. That's good for 34. That takes us to the end of the quarter. After one, it's San Diego 10, Denver 6. And Sunday Night Football from San Diego continues after these messages. From San Diego, tonight's aerial coverage being brought to you by Duracell. Al Michaels, John Madden, Andrea Kramer, Qualcomm Stadium, San Diego. The 2008 regular season ends tonight. And again, the winner to the playoffs. Indianapolis will go to either Denver or San Diego. The loser is done. AFC West title at stake. 10-6 San Diego from the 38-yard line on 1st and 10. Tomlinson finds the crease and turns it into a 12-yard gain. LaDainian gets tackled by Bailey at the 26-yard line. Barrett there as well. First down.
Comes back with a divot in his helmet, but doesn't he look like the old LT? I mean, like last year and the year before's version. I mean, he is full of life now. He's making the cut, but the biggest thing is he's finishing off the run. Not just big left tackle Marcus McNeil. That's a way that you move a defensive end out.
LT over 1,000 yards, but averaging only 3.6 per carry. He takes the ball to the 24-yard line. Well, it's almost like, you know, LT and the whole team, John. I mean, what they've done, San Diego has come out of the crypt. They were dead, 4-8, and he had a talk with them after the Atlanta game when they became 4-8, and he said, if nothing else, guys, you know, we can't pack it in right now. Not that they were thinking about the playoffs, but he said, hey, we got to play for pride, if nothing else.
Right, and you know, and he was part of the problem too. I mean, he wasn't able to run. He wasn't healthy. His offensive line wasn't blocking, and you know, Antonio Gates wasn't healthy. And they didn't have a heck of a lot going. But you can see now those guys that weren't healthy. You saw LaDainian Tomlinson. They are healthy now.
And a false start. Play clock running down, but a timeout actually was called before the false start. San Diego did get the clock stopped. LaDainian Tomlinson, last regular season game before he turns 30 in the offseason. Take a look at that bar graph. As you can see, diminishing returns start at about age 27, 28. There you have 1,000-yard rushing seasons by age. And when you get past 30, as you can see, it goes all the way down to just 2 guys did it at age 33, 2 guys did it at age 35. So there's Tomlinson, rushing yards, second lowest, rushing touchdowns, career low counting tonight, his 9th touchdown. So LT at the age of 29. And, of course, the Chargers had to make that key offseason decision what to do about Michael Turner. He winds up at Atlanta, and Turner wound up second in the league behind Adrian Peterson for the rushing title. Second down and 8. Pump fake. Rivers going deep and incomplete. Legadou Nane had gotten free. Nane, the number 3 receiver, but Rivers can't get it to him.
And Philip Rivers really likes Nane. I mean, he's one of those guys that has been an H-back. He's kind of been a tight end. And now he's the 3rd wide receiver. And look at this move. He gets Josh Bell turned around and gets so much separation on him that Philip Rivers just overthrows him. I mean, that was a heck of a move to get in that position.
3rd and 8. Darren Sproles comes into the game. There he is flanking Rivers. Good protection. Pass is caught underneath, and that's Gates. And Barrett's going to save, I think. Well, let's see where they're going to spot the ball. Very close to a first down, and they're going to put it right on the yellow line, which, as you know, is unofficial. But it appears to be, well, we'll see. I don't want to speculate right now, as the line of scrimmage is the 16, and in fact, John Parry signals an official timeout to bring in the chain gang.
Norv Turner in the first part of this game is running an awful lot of crossing patterns. You know, the Broncos are trying to play man, and the best way to run away from man coverage is with crossing patterns, and the majority of their stuff has been these kind of things. You see Gates here, you get by that guy, and now you just run away from him. You have the safeties man-to-man, and you can either run away from him going up the field or across the field. Oops.
Not even a link.
No, it's a tape part.
That's right.
How far do we have to go? A link? No, not a link to tape.
No. 4th and less than a link.
I think with this offensive line and with this Charger offense right now, I think you go for it. Usually, I would say, you know, the fans want to go for it. Everyone wants to, and I think the percentage play is to kick the field goal. In this case, I think the percentage play is to go for it on 4th down.
I'm with you. You've got Tomlinson, you've got Rivers who can sneak it.
He's already done that once. The other thing, if you really got greedy, you could throw a play-action pass, too. There'd probably be someone wide open in the end zone.
Good chance of it. And Rivers will do it himself. And that'll be a 1st down. 1st down for San Diego at the Denver 15-yard line.
I think that's the play. Anytime you have less than a link, it has to be a quarterback sneak. You don't want to hand it off to some back who's 8 or 9 yards deep and has to run 10 yards to get an inch.
You know, that could be a title for a book, couldn't it, John?
Less than a link.
Right. 1 knee equals 2 feet. Less than a link, you got to go for a 1st down.
Less than a link, you got to go for a 1st down, and less than a link, you have to quarterback sneak.
1st down, 15-yard line. Play fake to the outside. Into the flat goes Jacob Hester, rookie out of LSU, who's taken over as the starting fullback. Remember, they let Lorenzo Neal go after last season. Jamie Winborn makes the tackle. It's a gain of 2, 2nd and 8.
And that's why they have Jacob Hester in there now, because he is a good pass receiver as a fullback. And, you know, Antonio Gates gets so much attention that sometimes when you put the fullback in behind Gates at tight end, they don't even cover him. And so they wanted a guy that has some quickness, can catch a ball, can get open. Now they're in 3 wide receivers.
Rivers rolls to his right, buys time, then throws. 2 Chargers are there, and Manu Malayuna makes the catch for the touchdown. Flag is down.
When a quarterback can run just a little in this position of the field, and that situation.
There is no foul in the play for illegal contact, as the contact occurred when the quarterback was out of the pocket. Therefore, no foul. Touchdown.
You know, you look at Phillip Rivers, and you know that he can't run. He's not a running quarterback. But this is what he has to do. When your pocket starts to break down, just get out, but keep looking downfield. Keep looking downfield. And that, he not only found 1 receiver there, he found 2.
He had Tomlinson backing up Manu Malayuna. That ties Dan Fouts' single-season mark, 33 touchdown passes for Rivers, who leads the league. And the San Diego Chargers trying to get to the playoffs, lead by 11 with 11 and a half to go in the half. Rivers came into the weekend leading the league in touchdown passes. In December, you can take a look at his numbers. Drew Brees actually threw 4 today. He has 34. He winds up with that many. Rivers now has 33. He's won 13 straight regular season starts in December, as have the Chargers, who have been beaten since Marty Schottenheimer was here in the December game. And as we said, 33 touchdown passes, tying the mark set by Dan Fouts in 81.
You know, and that's probably why he didn't make the Pro Bowl. You say, how can you have a year like that and not make the Pro Bowl? Well, when they voted for the Pro Bowl, the Chargers were like 4 and 8.
They were. And coming off that loss to Pittsburgh, as Kading's kick is taken by Chad Jackson. And he'll bring it back to the 26. And John, that came at just about the time when, you know, most of the voting was getting done early in December. And the last time, you know, the last image a lot of people had of Rivers was taking a safety in that game in Pittsburgh that the Chargers lost. So they're thinking about that. They're thinking about 4 and 8, and that's part of the reason he's not going to Honolulu.
Right, and that's when Jay Cutler was hot. That's when Brett Favre was hot.
Right.
So they go to the Pro Bowl. Well, my question is, why do they have to vote for the Pro Bowl so early? Why don't they wait until this week, the last week of the season, and then the whole season is really in, and then you vote for who had the best year? I think that sometimes we're just premature on those things, and that's the thing that really got Phillip Rivers.
Sometimes you need a recount. Out of the gun. Cutler slings it, flag down left side. Brandon Stokely, now in his 10th year. Played, of course, with Peyton Manning at Indianapolis for a number of seasons. John Parry's crew to make the call here. And hands to the face against the Chargers. It'll be an automatic.
That's usually on a jam. You know, you can jam the first 5 yards off the line of scrimmage, and you get your
illegal
guys
use
up.
of hands to the face, defense, 5-yard penalty with an automatic first down.
It's usually that jam, and you started towards the shoulders, and then it goes up to the heads as you see Ron Rivera there, and that's what he's all about, is being aggressive. Get up on the line of scrimmage, you know, press them, get your hands on them, and you see that's exactly what happens here. Sometimes you'll start to, your aiming point is to the shoulders, and then as they move, your hand slides up to the face. And when you jam receivers on the line of scrimmage, that can happen.
That was Antoine Cason, their #1 draft choice, and first down out through the hands of Eddie Royal, incomplete. Second down and 10 for the Denver Broncos.
And that's the second one that went through Eddie Royal's hands, and they were saying last night what great hands he has and what big hands he has and what strong hands he has. When Jay Cutler throws that ball, there is a zip on it. There's a zing to it. And he does have that. I mean, you know, you don't like for a quarterback to do that. I mean, don't show up your receivers. Don't show up anyone. Just go back to the huddle.
Third drop tonight by the Broncos, second by Royal. And that pass is caught. Another flag is down as Eddie Royal this time is sure-handed.
You know, what's the difference? You know, where's the line between a fiery
Personal
competitor?
Foul. Chop block, number 21. 15-yard penalty. Replay, second down.
The running back Tatum Bell.
You see, you can't cut a guy who is engaged. Now watch this. You're going to see the center, Casey Wigman, is engaged right there. And then right there, and then Bell comes in. See, Wigman comes off. He gets engaged right there. You see, and then the cut. So it's kind of a high-low thing, and that's illegal.
Second and 25 from the 16.
This is where they like to run those verticals. Just they have 4 guys spread out. Just run them all straight up the field.
Cutler avoids the sack, fires over the middle, and incomplete. Eddie Royal that time covered well by Steve Gregory. The safety, Giles Tucker, was the guy who almost had the sack from the outside. Another flag.
And so far, the Chargers are doing a great job on Brandon Marshall.
Number 73, offense. Penalty's been declined. Result of the play, third down.
That's Chris Cooper. They'll take the play because that's going to make it third down and 25.
You remember in the last game you mentioned Brandon Marshall caught 18 passes against the Chargers. Well, you know, they're not sure exactly what's going to happen to him tonight, the Chargers, but they know that Brandon Marshall's not going to do it to him.
Hasn't caught a pass tonight.
Oh, and then, you know, we're talking about jamming, getting up, being physical with him. That's what they want to do, and that's what they are doing to Brandon Marshall. Look at this right here.
Third and 25. Cutler has to dump it off to the left side. They're trying to set up a screen for Bell, but that gains only 4 or 5 yards. Ryan Bingham makes the tackle, and Denver, down by 11, will punt.
And you really see the difference in this San Diego Charger defense. I mean, Ron Rivera has brought something to it, and that something to it has been more aggressiveness, more press the line of scrimmage, more blitzing, more going after the quarterback, those kinds of things. They don't wait and sit and wait for something to happen to them.
He took over for Ted Cottrell in midseason. Brett Kern, the rookie. His punt fielded by Sproles. Darren Sproles brings it back out to the 42-yard line with 9:42 left in the half. San Diego 17, Denver 6. For their first Super Bowl performance ever, the Bridgestone Super Bowl 43 halftime show. Bruce Springsteen, E Street Band, February 1st, Super Bowl Sunday, right here on NBC. Here's Tomlinson from the 42. They begin this drive up with a 1-yard gain to the 43.
Yeah, here's where the Chargers have really been effective with the play-action pass. And look at the protection that it gives them right here. And then they can go those deep crosses. So they use it, you say play action, kind of holds the linebackers and so on. But the other thing it does, it gives Phillip Rivers time to hold the ball back there to let his receiver get all the way across the field.
Play fake. Rivers hangs in the pocket, throws to the outside. That's Chris Chambers, who's able to make the catch at the 43-yard line. The ex-Miami Dolphin pulls that one in on the Denver side of the field, first down.
That was what Phillip Rivers said. One of the things that they want to do is work out here to their left side on Dre Bly. So anytime you see him singled up there, Phillip Rivers is trying to go to that area. Now, of course, you have to read that out, but if they don't have help, if they don't rotate towards him, they're going to do that. And I'm not sure what the heck Dre Bly did there at the end, but I don't think that's within the rules.
Not a friendly head slap either. Here's Tomlinson. I mean, Denver's already been penalized 4 times tonight, and they've been big penalties. Important.
You know, and I think that's one of the points where there's a fine line between being fired up and then going too far. And sometimes, you know, you say, what is too far? Anything after the play's over. Anything after the whistle blows, to me, is too far. I mean, that's too far. No one saw that, huh?
Yeah, well, don't give the official any opportunity to throw it down to 9. San Diego, 3 possessions with 2 touchdowns and a field goal. That's caught on the near side by Jacob Hester, and the LSU rookie has a first down, taking it to the 26-yard line before he's tackled there by DJ Williams. That's a gain of 16.
And that's what I was talking about, Jacob Hester. They put him in. He's a good receiver as a fullback, not a tailback. And then you go play action pass to see he's a lead blocker. He fakes like it's a block and then goes out into the flat, and no one gets to him until DJ Williams found it. In fact, DJ Williams was the guy that he faked blocking, and then he ran a pass pattern on.
More than halfway through the second quarter, Darren Sproles is the tailback on first down from the 26-yard line. And they give it to the man who was 10 pounds at birth. That's why he's been called Tank his entire life. And Tank grew up to be all of 5'6" and 181.
But he is something special, and he's been special on every level. I mean, he was a great high school player. He was a great college player, drafted by the San Diego Chargers. And to me, he offers so much to this team. You know, as a running back, as a regular running back, punt returner, kick returner. His contract is up this year. Yep. I think he's a guy that somehow they have to figure a way to keep.
I do too. He'll be much sought after. On 2nd and 5, they give it to him again, and he gets rolled down at the 20-yard line, and you've got another penalty.
It was funny, Mike Shanahan was talking about Darren Sproles last night, and he said, I'd like to sign him just so we don't have to play against him anymore.
Holding, number 68 offense, 10-yard penalty, 2nd down.
That's Chris Dielman, who will be going to the Pro Bowl for a 2nd straight season.
Chris Dielman is one of those guys. Remember, a year ago, he was up in Seattle, and he was going to sign with the Seattle Seahawks. Almost did, and the Chargers realized that, you know, we have a good offensive line, and that's a big part of what we're doing, and we can't lose this guy.
Keep that left side intact with Marcus McNeil and Dielman in the center. Hardwick, 2nd and 15.
When Sproles is in there, they always say, watch the screen.
Yeah, and another flag here.
False start, 66 offense, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Jeremy Clary, right tackle. Let's go to Andrea.
Well, Antonio Gates is back in the game, but he missed a few plays since catching that 3rd down pass. They were checking his right ankle. They were looking at the stability of his foot. They tried to figure out what's bothering him, he pointed to the outer part of his right ankle and his Achilles. They heavily taped him, put his shoe on, tested him pushing off, obviously good enough to go back in.
Had a toe injury last year. It's bothered him for much of this year. Said he was as healthy as he's been in a long time as the catch is made by Chris Chambers at the 20-yard line on a 2nd and 20 play. Josh Bell with the coverage. And
yeah, I think the way Josh Bell's playing, they don't have to worry about Dre Bly. Look at the cushion that he gives off here, and Chambers just runs up, holds him, and then makes a cut, and he made it look way, way too easy.
18-yard gain, so it'll be 3rd down and 2. Then Josh Bell was actually in the Charger camp, and then Denver picked him up in October. 3rd and 2, and Tomlinson will toss it back to Jackson. Rivers is out there to block to the 5-yard line on the 1st down and goal. So they run it again, and Rivers takes Bailey out of the play.
Who would have thought that your lead blocker is your quarterback? That's what Norv Turner was talking about. Watch when you get the action going one way. Look at all this Denver defense are going to come back the other way. I mean, anytime you get quick pursuit, you give them flow one way and then counter back against it. I don't know if I'd really call that much of a block, but I mean, for a quarterback, it's okay.
Got in the way.
You know, if anyone else did that, you'd say,
right.
That's the worst block I've ever seen in the history of the NFL.
Sort of worked.
But for a quarterback, well, that's a good block.
Fabulous. 1st and goal. Tomlinson will take it to the 4-yard line, and it'll be 2nd down and goal. When they run the next play, we'll have under 4 minutes to go. Again, the Indianapolis Colts will play the winner of this game, either in San Diego or in Denver. And the Colts, of course, red hot, end the season with 9 consecutive wins. And Peyton Manning right now is a prime candidate for MVP.
Yeah, I think you know, he would be the main guy. He said to me, who's the MVP in the NFL? I think it has to be Peyton Manning.
And who would have figured? Of course, Peyton started the year missing all of training camp. Took a while to look like Peyton.
And that's one of the reasons I think he's the MVP.
Yep. 2nd and goal from the 4. Tomlinson busting tackles. Touchdown.
LaDainian Tomlinson is fired up tonight. There was there for a while where he wasn't making the cuts, and then there was another point there where he wasn't finishing runs. He is finishing runs tonight. Talk about a team that is peaking, a team you want to be playing your best. At this point, I think the Chargers are on that road.
2nd touchdown of the night for LT. Kading's extra point is good. And with 3.5 minutes to go in the opening half with a playoff berth at stake, the Charger lead is 18. First global dance competition, country versus country on Superstars of Dance, and that premieres next Sunday, January 4th, right here on NBC. Beautiful night in San Diego, 70,000 at Qualcomm Stadium. Chargers have scored on all 4 possessions. Kading's kick taken in. Chad Jackson from the 7-yard line. And the wide receiver brings it back to the 30. Well, for the Broncos, the season started beautifully with 3 wins, and they've been in first place every week. Uncontested possession. Of course, 7 running backs who have gone on injured reserve. Cutler eclipsing Elway's record for passing yardage. But they've lost their last 2 games, 3 of their last 4, and in danger of becoming the first team ever to be in first place all season and then drop out of the playoffs after their last game. Mike Shanahan trying to avoid a season in which the Broncos would miss the playoffs for the 3rd year in a row after going to the AFC Championship game in 2005. And this is Tatum Bell taking it up to the 37-yard line.
Right, I think 2 things they have to do offensively is, one is what they just did. You know, stay with the run. Don't just make it just a passing game the rest of the way out, and get Brandon Marshall involved. I mean, there comes a point here, we know that he caught 18 in the first time these guys played, and I think that he has to be a part of this plan. I know that tight ends are a big part of it, but I think that you have to do something to this guy and get him involved in this game.
Mark, there's a little shovel pass to Tatum Bell. He'll get the first down, and he'll get tackled at midfield by Eric Weddle. 1st and 10.
And that's probably a pretty good plan right here, because you know that they're worried about the receivers and they're worried about Marshall and all this, and they're not really paying a lot of attention to the running back or to Tatum Bell. So you're able to get the ball to him, and get a block and get a few things in front of him, so they can do that, either under center or they are like this in the shotgun.
Toss it again. Tatum Bell will take the ball into San Diego territory to the 48-yard line, and that is going to take us to the 2-minute warning. Broncos have all of their timeouts. 2 minutes to go in the first half in San Diego, where the Chargers lead Denver 24-6 on Sunday Night Football. Toyota halftime show, bring you up to date on all of today's action. No, that's not 30 Rock. That is Horton Plaza right here in San Diego. But the regular season coming to an end. One playoff spot to be determined, and it will be determined in this one right now. An 18-point lead for San Diego. 2nd and 7. Cutler fires over the middle of the 30-yard line, and finally he finds Brandon Marshall. His first catch of the game, 99 on the season, tackled by Cooper, 1st down.
Broncos going no huddle here. They, with the 2-minute warning, they got a couple of plays called.
That was an 18-yard gain, and that threaded into traffic, and that's caught by Stokely. So Cutler with that rifle twice over the middle, once to Marshall, now to Stokely. 1st down of the 14.
Like I said, he doesn't leave it in the air very long. I mean, you talk about a guy threading it, Al. Like you said, Jay Cutler can really thread it. Look at this one. I mean, that threads through everything right to his guy, and it's tough for a defense. You're in a zone, and you have to react to that, and the ball's not in the air very long, so you don't have a heck of a long time to react.
Timeout taken by the Broncos. Their first Sunday Night Football being brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light. When the mountains turn blue, your beer is as cold as the Rockies. By Nissan, inviting you to shift the way you move through the world. By Wendy's, it's way better than fast food, it's Wendy's. And by Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% on car insurance. Jay Cutler will break a few fingers in his career.
Yes, he will. But don't you just feel that if they just went to that, pass and didn't mess with those screens and stuff, that he could do this all night to this defense?
Especially after those last two. Down to the corner of the end zone, and one official looks back to the other, and they say out of bounds. It was Tony Scheffler, covered by Steve Gregory. He puts his arms up, and of course you can't challenge within the last 2 minutes, so if it's close enough, it has to be a booth review.
That's one thing that Jay Cutler wanted to do, is get the ball to Scheffler on their safeties.
And remember, there's no force out rule anymore, so if you're thinking about, well, he got forced out of bounds, not applicable anymore.
Right, and nothing came down before his feet went out. So, it's the old 1 knee equals 2 feet, but he didn't get 1 knee down inside, and the foot was out, right?
Nothing to look at upstairs, and now a stoppage here.
The previous play will be reviewed.
Just as I say, nothing to look at.
Maybe there is something
to look at.
They're
going to look at. I don't know what they're seeing that we didn't, but they're going to take a look upstairs with 1:13 to go in the half. Will stand. Remember, there's no more force out, so you have to have both feet in and possession. He gets 1 foot down to Scheffler, but before he gets the 2nd foot down in the end zone, you'll see his knee or shin and his backside are out of bounds before the right foot gets down.
As you said a year ago, that probably would have been or could have been called a force out. If you were in the air and the defensive guy hit you and knocked you out, it would be a force out, but that's not a rule anymore.
Parry will make the call.
After reviewing the play stands as called, incomplete pass. The receiver did have possession of the ball. The left foot did hit in bounds, but nothing else. Incomplete pass. Please reset the play clock to 10 seconds. Play clock to 10 seconds.
So they have to get the snap off fairly quickly here, because it'll be 2nd down and 10. The ball is at the 14. They'll wait for John Parry to make his way back toward the play. They'll start the play clock from 10, and it's 2nd down and 10. From the 14, Cutler fires over the middle into the end zone, and it is picked off by Paul Oliver. So Cutler goes to the well over the middle again, and Oliver is there for the pick.
Yeah, I think he was trying to force that one to Brandon Marshall. You're going to see here, he's the inside receiver. He's right here, and he starts up and he comes underneath. That was pretty good coverage. I mean, Oliver was on his outside shoulder, and then he comes underneath, undercuts that thing. That's pretty good coverage. I mean, he had him one-on-one. That's not a bad decision to throw it there, but that was very, very good pass defense by Oliver.
That's 4 red zone interceptions this season for Cutler, who had none after he got the job from Plummer 2 years ago, and none starting all of last year. 1 minute and 7.
He's looking at that picture and said, I thought I had man-to-man coverage, and he did.
Yep, here's Sproles now. Sproles takes the ball up to the 26-yard line. Gets his helmet taken off. A little jawing going on here.
You know, he doesn't see himself, as just a kick returner and a 3rd down back. Darren Sproles wants to be an every down back, and he has that kind of personality. I don't want to ever sit on the sideline. I don't want to be a backup. I don't want to be a special. I want to be an every down back. And I bet you someday he is.
2nd and 4. And Rivers throws, and it's incomplete. He was out of the pocket. Nobody was open. And that stops the clock with a half minute.
Phillip Rivers has played very well in this first half, and I think Norv Turner has done an excellent job of play calling. I mean, he has really, had a great mixture. He's had the run, he's had the pass, he's had the play action pass and those deep crosses, and he's really put this Denver Bronco defense back in their heels.
Now the Chargers will be content. Well, maybe they won't. Let's see what they're going to do here on 3rd down and 4. And they're going to run it. They're going to keep it on the ground. And now Sproles is going to put them in a position up at the 36-yard line if they want to take a timeout to at least try to get into field goal range. And they do. Once they got the conversion with 23 seconds, they will take a timeout. They have 1 more remaining as Rivers will try to get them into range for Kading, who last week had a 57-yarder at the end of the half at Tampa.
Yeah, when the kicker starts to take his pants off, then that means he thinks he's going to have another shot here somewhere.
QB comparison tonight. Rivers with that 1 touchdown pass, but look at the rating says it all. We know the rating's an esoteric thing, and it's full of a lot of stuff, but it does give you a pretty good indication when you compare the two who's having the better night. Aloha. 1st and 10 at the 36-yard line. And McNeil was moving that time at left tackle.
False start. Number 73. Offense. 5-yard penalty. 1st down.
San Diego tonight. Field goal, touchdown, touchdown, touchdown. We talked about it at the beginning about, Denver's Achilles heel, the defense, ranked 28th in the league and kind of looking like it tonight.
Yeah, they're not a very good defense, and they're not a good tackling defense, but I go back to Phillip Rivers in the first half that he's had, but again to Norv Turner, and the play calling I think has been excellent.
And Rivers will throw that one into the San Diego bench.
We had those crosses again. I mean, that's the thing that they're trying to do. They have a plan that we want to go play action pass, and we want to run those crossing patterns, and this whole first half they've been doing it the whole time.
Chargers trying to be the first team to make the playoffs after having been 4 games below 500 with 5 or fewer games left in the season. Second and 15. And they'll run it with Sproles. They'll get taken down up at the 38-yard line, and that should do it for the opening half as the San Diego Chargers trying to work their way to postseason. Trying to get the host Indianapolis here next Saturday. Lead by a score of 24-6. Coming up next, the Toyota Halftime Show. After these messages from your local NBC station.
We got to play every down like it's our last. We got to go out there, hit them in the mouth, and try to get this AFC West title.
I think every week is a different week, and you're not playing the team you played the last 2 or 3 weeks. So it's a whole different ball game.
We've put ourselves in a great position, in a position to control our own destiny.
When you walk off the field at the end of the game, you shouldn't have nothing left. You should be exhausted, tired, beat up.
There's a lot of hate in between these teams. It all boils down to heart. Who has the biggest heart?
It's plain and simple. You win, you go on. You lose, you go home.
And on that note, Al Michaels, John Madden, and Andrea Kramer as we come back to Qualcomm Stadium in San Diego. The Indianapolis Colts will either come here next Saturday or go to Denver next Saturday night. Right now it's a 24-6 lead for the San Diego Chargers. Brandon Marshall with those 18 catches in week 2, and tonight limited to that one late in the first half right over the middle. Denver will get the ball to start the third quarter. Dave Keding sends it toward the eastern end zone. At the 5-yard line, Chad Jackson. Running back kicks for the first time all season to the 27-yard line. Let's check in with Andrea Kramer. Andrea.
Well, Al, I just talked to Norv Turner about what you discussed with Brandon Marshall, what they're doing against him. He said they're doubling him when they can, and mainly they're being physical with him at the line of scrimmage. Turner's strategy for the second half, up by 18, he said we have to keep attacking offensively. He said they're so dangerous, we can't let up. As for Mike Shanahan, he said we're being hurt in the time of possession battle. We can't have 3 and outs.
And he's exactly right about that, because the Chargers have had the ball almost 2/3 of the time. Cutler will dump it off over the middle. That's caught by the running back Tatum Bell, and Bell takes it to the 38-yard line to move the chains, first down.
Yeah, the Broncos came out here with 4 wide receivers, and you know, Mike Shanahan, when he gets backed up, he's going to go after you. He's going to attack, and he's going to spread you out, and that's exactly what he's doing again here. 4 wide receivers.
Flips it out to the right side. That's the rookie Eddie Royal, but he can't get free. Eric Weddle right there with him. Gain of a couple. Second down.
Yeah, they're playing that screen. I mean, if that inside guy stays back here or runs parallel, the defensive back, Eric Weddle, is coming up on him. They're not letting him get that play and staying off him. The minute they see him stay or go parallel, they're coming up.
That was an interesting shot with Rivers on the sideline. 2nd and 7, and it's threaded into the arms of the tight end Tony Scheffler. He makes the catch, and that moves the chains. The ball is at the 43 of San Diego, first down.
We talked to Jay Cutler last night. That's what he talked about wanting to do, is attacking the safeties. He thought the biggest weakness in the San Diego Charger defense were their 2 safeties. And he thought with his tight ends and wide receivers, he could attack them.
That was Scheffler's 3rd catch of the night. And here is Eddie Royal inside the 40. They'll spot the ball at the 37-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and 5.
I think the thing with the Broncos is, if they can stay in manageable situations, they can make plays. But it's when they get the penalty and obviously the turnover, and that just kills you.
Call it 2nd and 4 from the 37. Again, that toss. Bell turns it back upfield. First down. Bell inside the 20, inside the 10, and that's exactly how Denver had to come out and start the second half with a touchdown.
You're right, and it's exactly the way they started the first half. I mean, it was Tatum Bell, and it was running, and it was doing those things. Good mixture, and that's it. I mean, you can't say that it's going to be a pass every down, and they get in the shotgun. Watch Tony Scheffler there, right there. He makes a good block, and that's the block that really springs Tatum Bell.
Bell gets to the end zone for the second time. Remember, the extra point was missed earlier by Prater. Jason Elam, in 15 seasons, missed a total of 3. This time the kick is good. And so 2 minutes and 13 seconds into the second half, the Denver Broncos shave the lead to 11 as San Diego is up 24-13. Don't think you can get that at McDonald's, John. Los Olas carted by the sea. A little carnitas taco platter.
That's a good place. I've been there like 5 or 6 times, and I've only gotten in there once.
You're kidding?
It's always crowded. Yeah, the parking lot all the way out to the beach.
But you had dinner in Mississippi and New Mexico this week. I heard about that.
Deming, New Mexico, Christmas dinner.
Matt Prater to kick off. Broncos getting back in it at 24-13. Sproles comes up fields at the 10. Darren Sproles squirts through the middle. Tackled up at the 31-yard line. Tackle made by Lewis Green as we go back to the score.
Yeah, we talk about Brandon Marshall. And again, watch the block that he makes on that touchdown run. Again, he's only caught 1 pass, but a wide receiver today has to do a number of things, and he comes in on that crack, and he gets Sean Phillips. So that's what got it started. And Tony Scheffler makes the block, and Tatum Bell makes a pretty good run.
Tatum Bell with touchdown romps tonight at 26 and 37 yards. The ball is at the 31-yard line. Fake to L2. Rivers, secondary does its shot, so Phillip will take off and gets to the 36-yard line. Winborn is there. It'll be a gain of 5. Make it 4, second down and 6.
And that's what the Denver Bronco defense had to be talking about, is that play action pass with the crosses. And again, they, as you said, they had it covered, and he comes out of his play action, he looks deep, he had no one to throw to.
So then working in the first half on the foot of Antonio Gates. He is not in the lineup. There he is on the sideline. Manu Maliun, who plays a lot in the 2 tight end set and has scored a touchdown tonight, is the tight end. Here's Tomlinson, LaDainian over right guard, into Denver territory, cuts it to the outside, inside the 30, and that's the old LT.
That sure is. He has it. I saw it in practice the other day, and I said, this guy looks different. He looks like he did a couple of years ago. He's back, and then you wonder, is that going to translate into the game? And it sure has. Watch this move, the jump cut there, another jump cut there, then there's a burst up the field, and then another cut to there, and he said, this is about as far as I can go. Watch that first jump cut there, and then he has another one right there. There's 2 in the first 5 yards. Then he has another cut coming up there, and then he gets to the sideline.
That's his longest run of the season. That's 45 yards. Sproles is the back. The fake to him. Rivers moving to his right. Then throws and hits Manu Maliuna, who gets pinball down at the 15-yard line.
You know, sometimes it takes a pinball to tackle him because he's about a 300-pound guy. You know, when he gets out there, you better get 4 or 5 guys pinballing him.
Hit the bumper.
Here's a pinball right there. He just bounce off, turns him a little. He just turns around, starts all over again, and better get about 5 or 6 of those white jerseys there. You will get him down.
Trying to win a free game. Sproles to the 13-yard line. It will be 3rd down and short now for the Chargers.
You know, LaDainian Tomlinson brought up an interesting point the other day. He said, I wish that I would have hurt my toe earlier in my career when I was younger. Then I wouldn't have had to put up with that too old stuff.
Right.
You know, like, is it an injury or is it an age? And I agree with him. You know, that, I mean, the minute that, you know, that he doesn't do something or his stats go down, you look and you say, well, you know, he's getting old and, you know, he's done. There's a lot of gas in that tank, I think, is the point that I'm making.
Plenty of gas tonight. 3rd down and 3. With 3 backs behind Rivers in the backfield that time. Here is Sproles to the end zone.
The best screen runner in football is Darren Sproles. He was helped along by Denver Bronco, poor tackling. But this guy, we know on punt returns, we know on kick returns, but this screen pass here, two backs going one way, get him out there, get a blocker out in front, and the moves, and he can make moves right and left as he goes upfield. Watch how he does that. This is an amazing, amazing running back.
First time they've shown that look with Nane and Manu Maliuna in the backfield with Sproles. Kading's extra point is good. So Denver scores to start the half, and the Chargers answer immediately. San Diego 31, Denver 13. Quarter, San Diego on top, 31-13. Tomlinson 2 touchdowns tonight. Sproles with 1. Chad Jackson, running back, kicks for the first time this season to receive. Nate Kading to put it in the air. Winner hosting Indianapolis next week, and the loser is done for 08. Jackson from the 6-yard line. Loses the ball at the 18-yard line. Kasim Osgood created the fumble, and that would figure because he's one of the elite special teams players in the league. Still waiting for Parry's signal, and he so signals Denver. Jay Cutler coming out. You talk about a guy with a lot to think about, not only what he has to go through tonight and through the course of the season. He found out in April he was a type 1 diabetic. So there's an entire program that he has to go through, of course, every day, a special program during the games, but he has dealt with it at the highest level. We'll get more from Andrea in just a second as he comes up on 1st and 10 from the 18-yard line. And that pass is knocked down. Intercepted. It's actually deflected and picked off. Luis Castillo comes up with it. So it looked like it was simply deflected as Sean Phillips got a hand on it, and then Castillo has it pop right into his grasp.
That's what defenses can do now when they're trying to throw that bubble screen out there, is you just get a little penetration. You just get up the field because he's going to come straight out with it. Sean Phillips does that. He sees it. He can just get up the field. Cutler turns that way, and he just gets up in the air. He knocks it up in the air, and then boom, there's his teammate Castillo to come up with it.
That is a Christmas present 3 days late. Castillo's 2nd career interception. The ball is at the 14-yard line. They give it to Tomlinson. He's inside the 10, inside the 5. Touchdown, San Diego.
Now this is Charger football that we know from last year. This is the Chargers, a counter, good blocking, guard, good offensive line play, and excellent running by LaDainian Tomlinson. See out there, Vincent Jackson does his job. Again, Denver doesn't put up a lot of fight on that.
Nate Kading to make it 38-13. Tomlinson with 8 rushing touchdowns all season coming in as the hat trick tonight. Busting tackles.
LaDainian Tomlinson is fired up tonight.
This is Sunday night.
And this night has been the Charger night to this point. Remember, San Diego scored 38 against Denver in week 2. Lost the game. They have 38 tonight in less than 36 minutes. Kading to kick off to Chad Jackson. The scene we've seen played out a few times tonight because of all of the San Diego scoring. Jackson up to the 30. We started to talk about Cutler, a type 1 diabetic before. Let's go to Andrea.
Well, yeah, Alan, as for his in-game routine, between the time he arrives at the stadium and the end of the first quarter, Cutler tests his blood sugar levels about 8 to 10 times a game. So this is what it looks like typically. He's on the bench along with trainer Steve Antonopoulos. He pricks his finger, they take the reading, and in this case, it looked good. Now, they tested it before the first drive and also after the first drive. Now, if his levels are low, he feels shaky and he can break out in cold sweats, so they have to give him some kind of sugar, either in a liquid form or packs, so that it takes just about a minute to take effect.
And his pass right here is deflected by Eric Weddle. I mean, John, he's about the coolest kid in the room in a way, and honest and frank, and we talked about it at the Open about how, Mike Shanahan says we've got to work on that, but that's pretty amazing to have to go through that and play quarterback in the National Football League.
But you know what he is even more than that? He's a role model for any young person that has juvenile diabetes, that you can do anything. I mean, if you have the disease and you're fighting for a cure for it, that he still, can perform on this level. I mean, that's the thing. I think that, kids can look and say, if Jay Cutler can play professional football and achieve at this level, that gives me hope to do whatever I want to do. And I think that's the biggest thing with what he's going through right now.
You can get to the Pro Bowl. 3rd down and 2 from the 38. The crowd in full roar. And able to convert as Marshall makes the catch. Up to the 47-yard line. He's tackled there by Quentin Jammer.
And I think that, that Jay Cutler has always been one of those guys that we know has velocity, drills the ball in there, and because he drills the ball in there, he doesn't have to have wide open windows. That was a very, very narrow window.
100 catches now for Marshall this season. Cutler steps up, and that's 101. And Marshall will pick up a first down as he takes it to the 42-yard line. Marshall last year 102 catches. This year, despite missing that first game, he was suspended. 101 catches. He'll be going to the Pro Bowl along with Cutler.
Well, I mean, he's another one of those big guys, 6'4", 230, and they're such a big target on the outside.
And Cutler finds the open man. He goes to the tight end. That's Tony Scheffler. And Denver takes it to the 30-yard line for a first down.
Getting back to, Brandon Marshall being so big, you kind of expect that in the tight end like Tony Scheffler here. Now watch, when you have an arm like that, you don't always have to have your feet in the right position.
Right.
Because what he does is he throws with torque. I mean, he throws with the middle or the core of his body.
I mean, with an open stance, in effect, to get that much on it is amazing. Tatum Bell on the ground. Remember that, again, as honest as Cutler is at one point this season, he says, I throw it harder than Elway.
I don't know about that. I don't know that you win any contest for throwing harder than any quarterback, but I'll tell you, I mean, John Elway did. I mean, John Elway had that thing, remember they called the Elway cross?
Right.
When he would hit you in the chest, the cross of the football would be embedded. And I don't know that there's a Cutler cross.
On 2nd and 10, Jay out of the pocket. He's very effective out of the pocket, but this time nobody's open, and he gets run out of bounds by Antoine Cason.
And he's very effective out of the pocket, usually because they run those bootlegs. Faking to the running back one way and then quarterback going the other way. But they say that against a 3-4 defense, both the Chargers said that and the Broncos said it, that bootlegs are not effective. Jay Cutler thought that he could run some bootlegs tonight out of shotgun.
That was amazing, though. You think about it, he's thrown almost as many touchdown passes out of the pocket as he has from the pocket, despite throwing about a 1/6 as many. 3rd and 4. And now he'll sling it back across the field. It gets tipped twice and incomplete. So it got volleyballed. First by a Charger. Gregory is there. Marshall couldn't hang on, and it's 4th down and 4.
And you probably come to a point and you say, you shouldn't throw across the field, and you probably shouldn't do this. You don't want young quarterbacks to throw across the field because the ball usually is intercepted when you do that. But I think when you're in this situation that the Broncos are now and you're down 38-13, you just go for anything and everything.
You have to. You're down by 25. You have 21 minutes and 16 seconds left in the season. 4th and 4. And that is caught. He goes to Stokely, who's made so many of those clutch catches through the years. A lot of them on the receiving end from Peyton Manning when he was at Indy. First down.
A little like Wes Welker, isn't it? I mean, you know, Stokely is a Welker type of guy that just knows how to work the slot. You know, they run that option. If you play inside, I turn outside. If you play outside, I turn inside. You know, I just turn around and let the quarterback have my outside shoulder because the defender was inside.
17-yard line. Flip it out, Marshall. Swings to the outside, gets away from Kaysen, but then the rest of the Chargers are there, surrounded by blue shirts. Minimal gain, if any. Second down.
Yeah, the Chargers are pursuing very well, so they're having good success on anything that goes laterally, you know, or stays in the backfield. And Denver's having more success when they go vertical, get the ball up the field.
Right. Except that one toss to Bell did result in a touchdown. But apart from that, they've been right there. Loss of 3 on the play. 5 minutes to go in the third. 2nd and 13. Cutler. Stokely to the 12-yard line. Antonio Cromartie making the tackle. It'll be 3rd down and 5 for the Broncos.
You see what the old veteran Stokely did is he saw Gregory coming, and right there at the end, his head was up, and he saw him. He just put his head down and said, if you're going to come, you're going to go over my head, not into it.
He's been in the rodeo before.
Yeah, watch it. And this is how he gets to come to the rodeo again. This is how he just ducked down. He wasn't going to take that shot.
3rd and 5. And Cutler to the outside, and he tried to get it to Bell on a play that looked a little strange.
Well,
4th down.
That's the kind of stuff that I was saying didn't seem to be working. That stuff that he just throw sideways. I mean, they were able to run sideways, but I think the throwing sideways is not very effective. So you see here he is out there, and this is what Jay Cutler sees is he looked out there and saw that no one was on him, so he tried to get him the ball quickly.
And then Cromartie got right there in a hurry. So again, Denver to try to convert on 4th down. 4th and 5. Cutler throws, and that's dropped. It was Stokely who had it. He had it in his grasp and couldn't hang on. And they turn it over to San Diego on downs with 4:13 remaining in the third, and the Chargers up by 25. Up 2 weeks from tonight on NBC, the Golden Globes, the date January 11th, right here on the National Broadcasting Company. San Diego, California on this last Sunday night of 08. 1st and 10. The ball is at the 12-yard line. LaDainian Tomlinson gets stripped up, no gain. 2nd down. LT tonight, 14 carries, 95 yards, and 3 jaunts to the end zone. Under 30. Look at that. Nobody has scored more touchdowns before that age. 3rd in yards from scrimmage. 4th in rushing. You can start thinking about what his bust will look like in Canton someday. Darren Sproles in the game right now. 2nd down and 9. There's Sproles playing it back. 5'6" Darren Sproles up to the 17-yard line. You know, it's funny, John, I keep thinking about this time of year. Everybody keeps talking about, you know, this is the team you don't want to face. Nobody wants to face this team in the playoffs. You know what? If it stays this way, next Saturday night's game, which we'll have, those are 2 teams that nobody wants to face in the playoffs. Indianapolis would have won 9 straight, and these guys, if they get in, will be what people thought they were.
Right, and I think these guys right now, as we see them tonight, have to be the hottest team in the AFC. And then you say, you know, well, how about Indy? Well, with Peyton Manning, you have that factor there, and you never want to go against that.
3rd and 5. Rivers throws to the outside. Caught. Legadou Nane, and that will be a first down. And they've got a hot quarterback in Rivers. They've got, well, you know what? If it's Indy against San Diego, that's become some rivalry. And we've had a couple of their games on Sunday Night Football in the last couple of years, and they have been tremendous.
Right, they match up well. Remember the last one where San Diego goes down and scores, and then they score too early, and then they right back down the field right at the end of the game.
Met in the playoffs last year, and San Diego won. Even with Rivers getting hurt, Billy Volek led him to the win. To the outside goes the pass, and that is dropped at the 28-yard line. Speaking of the wild card playoffs next week, the first game, Atlanta goes to Arizona. Then it's the Colts taking on the Broncos or the Chargers right here on NBC. Football night will begin at 4 o'clock Eastern time. And of course, we will have Super Bowl 43 from Tampa on February 1st.
It was funny, you know, Friday when we were talking to Norv Turner, he'd just come from a room where they were breaking down the Indianapolis Colts film already.
2nd down and 10. Sproles. Well, they had to be breaking it down in Denver too, but
no, I'm sure they did. Yeah, but I mean, you know, it's one of those things. You think, well, you don't know if we're in yet, you know, and you know, after tonight, whoever wins will start getting ready for the Indianapolis Colts. That's not true. They started getting ready for the Indianapolis Colts last week.
3rd down and 7, under 2 to play in the 3rd quarter. Moving backward, throws, and then Sproles is able to avoid one tackle. Got by Barrett before DJ Williams knocks him down, and the Chargers will punt.
That was the thing on that screen pass. The way you try and defend it is you try and get a guy outside and a guy inside and a guy straight up with the screen runner. It's called a triangle. You put a triangle around the guy carrying the screen.
Mike Cyphers had a great year. San Diego really excelling on special teams with Sproles and Cyphers and Kading and Kasim Osgood. His first punt of the night will bounce out of bounds at the 25-yard line. Cutler will go to work there. LT, meanwhile, going to the locker room. 38-13, San Diego. As the Denver Broncos coach, and his team right now in dire straits. Down by 25, the ball at the 25. Cutler on 1st down and 10, throws. This is Marshall. Marshall picks up the 1st down and then gets taken down by Weddle, tripped up after he picks up 12 yards, 1st down.
I think now he's going to be able to hit that underneath stuff because the Chargers, with this 38-13 lead, are playing a softer defense. They're starting to play, you know, both safeties deep, more, you know, cover 2 shell, and letting them have that underneath stuff.
Yep, guns it. That's a 12-yard gain again, this time to the rookie Eddie Royal. That takes it to the 50-yard line, and it's going to take us to the end of the 3rd quarter. So 15 minutes left in the season. End of 3. San Diego 38. Denver 13. NBC's Sunday Night Football from San Diego, back after these messages from your local station. And right now the Chargers in the driver's seat. 38-13. We start the 4th quarter with a 1st and 10 for Denver at the Bronco 49-yard line. Cutler throws low and incomplete. 2nd down. Let's go back to Tomlinson, because LaDainian right now, John, is still back in the locker room, and see if we can figure out what happened to him. He goes down there at the 12-yard line and reaching for his groin, and then he was trying to work out some stiffness. There he was on the sideline, and they were looking at him.
Yeah, when you do that, that is trying to loosen up a groin right there. And then after that, he went back into the locker room.
2nd down and 10. Cutler, oh boy, he could feel that pressure from behind. Gets away and somehow is able to thread it to Darrell Jackson for a 1st down. Boy, Cutler could hear it. 13-yard gain.
Yeah, they always say that quarterbacks have a clock in their head, and they know that if I don't get rid of the ball by now, I better get out of here. Right now, that clock is telling them I better get out of here. But the thing about Jay Cutler, as you said, he can thread the ball anywhere in the field, but he always keeps looking upfield, keeps everything alive.
Cutler fires. That's caught by Marshall. Marshall tries to back his way to a 1st down. Settles for a 9-yard gain. 2nd down and 1.
You know, the way this thing is going, you know, and Jay Cutler said last night, I'm going to have to throw 60 or 70 times. He probably is going to come close to throwing 60 times tonight.
25 out of 38 at the moment for 237, but 2 picks and no touchdowns. 2nd and 1. And it winds up in the hands of Bell. 1st down.
Now you want to see a good player here. Watch this Ryan Clady. He's the rookie left tackle, but he has great feet. You know, and that's what a left tackle has to have. He has to be like a basketball player. He has to have feet and balance. And this guy is super at it. He's one of the best rookie tackles that I've seen in the league in years.
Pick in the 1st round out of Boise State. Mike Shanahan telling us last time he was coming out this year, he might be the #1 overall pick in the draft. Cutler throws to the end zone, and it is caught for a touchdown by Scheffler. From out of the pocket, Cutler throws a touchdown pass. Scheffler with 3 touchdowns this season, all against San Diego. He beats Clinton Hart.
Yeah, you can see Norv Turner is so upset, one, that they let Cutler get out of there, but they let Scheffler come up with a big play, because that's what he was worried about. Defense, big plays in the passing game. But again, when you play Jay Cutler, and as you say, he's so effective when he gets outside the pocket, you have to keep him inside. You have to keep him contained.
So Denver right now will go for 2. The only one they made was in week 2, and that won the game. No matter what, even if they make it, it's still going to be a 3-possession lead for San Diego. It'll either be 17 or 19. And Cutler will try to run it in. Does he get there? He does. 2-point conversion is successful to make it 38-21. So a 17-point San Diego lead with 13 minutes and 1 second left in the 4th.
If the Chargers got in an onside prevent, I don't think I would kick an onside kick. But if they got in a regular return, I would try an onside kick here. And the Chargers are kind of betwixt and between.
Yeah, they have 7 guys within 10 yards of the 50-yard line. It's a conventional kick. It's taken by Sproles. And Sproles gets up past the 30 to the 34-yard line. So let's see about that Bronco defense at a very critical point right now. 38-21. A minute ago as he jogs back out onto the field. Get a report on his condition. Gates hasn't played, meanwhile, in the 2nd half with an ankle injury, and he's listed as questionable. And this is Darren Sproles for a gain of 3.
You know, and that's what Sproles likes. He likes to run inside, too. You know, we talked about not just being a 3rd down back, and he said every time he goes in there, everyone yells, screen, 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 and said he wants to do some of those things like that last play where he just ran straight ahead.
2nd and 7, Chargers right now do a little bit of clock milking. This is a very big series for the Denver defense. Rivers moving out. And so much for clock milking on this series as he's out of bounds at the 40-yard line.
You know, and the thing with Philip Rivers, you can just see him. He can't run a lick.
No.
I mean, he has no speed whatsoever. So, again, all you have to do is move a little in that pocket, buy a little time. But you talk about a guy that really, really struggles to run. That's Philip Rivers. Again, he just quit looking downfield. I mean, he looked for a while. So I'll go sit here by Brandon Marshall for a minute.
Looks like the guy who can't get away in a dream. 3rd and 4.
That's right.
Rivers throws. And who needs to run when you can throw like that? As Chambers makes the catch and a first down. So they convert on the 3rd and 4. Chambers covered by Josh Bell, first down.
Yeah, and covered with way too much cushion by Josh Bell. You wonder why you're off so much in this situation. Again, he's reading the quarterback, reading his drop, waiting for him to look and set. And Josh Bell just gave way too much cushion on that one. I think somewhere here, the Bronco defense, you have to press. I mean, you have to get up and you have to stop something.
Sproles. Well, you heard that charge, that charge, which that's part of how the Chargers got their name. Baron Hilton, their original owner, loved SC. They've been doing that in Los Angeles for over 50 years, and that was part of it. Also, Baron Hilton, the original owner, had carte blanche, and there is Dean Spanos in the middle there, and A.J. Smith to camera right, the general manager of the team. Dean, the son of Alex Spanos, who's now owned the team for 25 years. Speaking of Baron Hilton, I ran into him at halftime. He's here tonight. One of the founders of the American Football League.
Yeah, right. And anytime I see any of those founders of the American Football League, I always thank them for giving a lot of us an opportunity. Oops.
Sproles inside the 30, inside the 20, inside the 10, and forced out inside the 5-yard line by Vernon Fox. Mike Goff pulling and leading the way from right guard, a 37-yard gain.
And that's why Darren Sproles can be an every down back, because he gets in this situation, Tomlinson hurt, and he can run the ball inside, bounce it outside. Anytime you put the ball in his hands, it can go all the way. I mean, this guy is something. He's hard for the defense to see. He gets in behind those linemen, then he can make those quick cuts. He is very, very difficult to defend.
1st and goal. Sproles. And Sproles is able to force his way in for a touchdown.
Sproles powers his way in. 5'6", Darren Sproles. You got a package there, and it's a special package.
First rushing touchdown by the Chargers this season, scored by somebody other than Tomlinson.
I'll tell you, he's low. He's 5'6", and then when he gets down, and he gets down low, he's about 2'2" when he goes across that goal line.
Nate Kading for the point after. And so what was a critical series for the Bronco defense turns out to be a San Diego touchdown.
I mean, their defense can't slow up this San Diego offense at all. Maybe they should have onside kick.
Yeah. 45-21. Full header here on NBC. We know it's the Falcons at the Cardinals for starters, and then the Colts either here or in Denver. It all starts at 4 o'clock Eastern time, so late afternoon in the East, and then the evening game will be Indianapolis at the Chargers or the Broncos. 9:47 remaining in the 4th quarter. Chad Jackson from the 2. Got away from Osgood, but not very far, to the 22-yard line. 9:40 remaining in the 4th quarter. San Diego in control. Philip Rivers making his 6th career start against Denver, and a lot of success against the Broncos. 38 points per game, and tonight they put 45 on the board. leading 45-21 with 9:40. Funny how much smarter Norv Turner got in December, John.
Oh, he's brilliant tonight.
Oh, the Charger fans were going crazy at the end of November. They wanted everybody fired.
But his play calling tonight things up and kept this Bronco defense on their heels. He's close to a genius.
The 22-yard line, week to week. Eddie Royal up to the 33-yard line. Chargers, as we mentioned, 13 consecutive wins in December. The Cowboys back in the late 60s and early 70s. So the Chargers right now on the cusp of making it 14.
Well, and that's when you want to, be your best at the end of the season. And usually that team at the end of the season that is peaking is a team that goes the deepest in the playoffs.
And Cutler with Marshall getting behind Cromartie, and then a flag comes down. In fact, there are two flags. There's one at the 50-yard line, and they just picked up one at the 34-yard line. Chargers have had more defensive pass interference penalties called on them than any team in the league. This would be 13 if it is.
And they've given up a lot of big plays in their secondary.
There are 2 fouls on the play, both by the defense. Illegal contact number 31. That penalty's been declined. Pass interference number 28. That penalty will be accepted. Automatic first down at the spot of the foul.
Illegal contact from Cromartie, and then the pass interference by Gregory.
Hey, you'll see 28 Steve Gregory. He's right back here. He's gonna. There's the first one right there. You see where he just grabs there, trying to be physical with Marshall, and then Gregory. Oh, I don't know. That was close, but he came across the ball.
And then the pass intended for Stokely is incomplete. Second down. 41st pass. Make it 42nd thrown by Cutler tonight.
The Chargers, if they win and they play the Colts next week, they're starting to get ready for their pass defense.
Yes, they are.
And Peyton Manning, because they're going to see the same thing from Peyton Manning that they're seeing from Jay Cutler tonight.
2nd and 10. Butler flings it to Royal, and Cromartie escorts him out of bounds at the 30-yard line.
In this thing, when you loosen up on defense, when you have a lead, that's okay, but you want to keep everything inside. You'd like to keep the completions obviously in front of you, but you would like to keep the receivers after they catch the ball, you'd like to keep them inbound. Brandon Marshall didn't even go to the huddle that time. He just stood out here on the right side. He's the wide guy down here in the bottom.
3rd and 5. Cutler looks the other way, goes the other way, and the pass is incomplete because Hart went right into Scheffler as Scheffler accepted the ball. So it'll be 4th down and 5.
Jay Cutler was saying that he wants to work in those safeties, and he said anytime you see a safety with a neck roll on, you want to work on it. And that's number 42, Hart. He gave a pretty good hit with that neck roll. He said, but if there's a defensive back with a neck roll, that's the guy you want to throw on. Or Clinton Hart, I think I'd get that neck roll off.
4th down. Cutler trying to keep Denver alive, and the pass is too far for Brandon Marshall. And there's the frustration of the way Denver's season appears to be winding up. With Marshall, you got a flag down because Marshall took the ball and flung it away. So you're going to wind up with a penalty in the end zone.
That's the thing he's working on. He's trying to control that temper. He's trying to be better on and off the field, and said he's working very hard at it, but it still runs away with itself.
There is no foul on the play for delay a game spike as the player was in the end zone.
Look at how wide open he was. I mean, you see the
it is not a foul.
Frustration there. I mean, he was 10 yards open.
Such a trip under his own feet.
Yeah, he tripped on the end in San Diego.
Wants the ball, flings it away. but you had a change of possession here, so there is no foul. And first down for San Diego at the 30-yard line.
And that's the thing, when you have a game like this, winner go on, loser go home, and you lose and it's your last game, and the finality of it is very, very difficult to start.
Sproles. And especially in the case of the Denver Broncos, I mean, you're sitting there with a 3-game lead the final month of the season, and now you're going to go home. And the San Diego Chargers, who were without question the most star-crossed team in the league through the first 3 months. This is a team that lost 4 games in the last seconds. There were the Broncos, in the only team, as we say, in first place by themselves the entire season if they lose tonight to not make the playoffs because of a loss in the last game. First down at the 40-yard line.
It's that old thing. It's not how you start out, it's how you end up.
Isn't it? Sproles, gain of 9. Let's go to the sideline. Andrea.
Well, Al, finally some official word on LaDainian Tomlinson. They're calling it a possible abdominal strain, and they say they're being cautious, which I think it's safe to say is a euphemism for between a 24-point lead and a game to play next week. He will not be back in the game, but he's on the sideline and he's stretching out that right side, that right hip and groin area.
Plenty of euphemisms when it comes to injury reports. Perfect description.
Well, and especially when the team you're going to play is scouting you and, you know, and watching every move you make, and, you know, I mean, they know what you have and what you can do and can't do.
Every breath you take as well. Here's Hester, the fullback, playing tailback here to the 49-yard line. So you saw Tomlinson. Meanwhile, Sproles tonight, 13 carries, 101 yards, 2 catches for 17 yards, and runs back kicks and punts.
I mean, he's such a weapon for this team, and that was one of the things we talked about earlier. You know, you talk about the Chargers, very good offense, defense not really good, but doggone special teams are really excellent.
Sproles at 319 total yards or combined yards in the first game. In the 2s tonight. He's just killed the Broncos. Hester again to the 46-yard line. The AFC playoff picture. Baltimore winning today against Jacksonville. That cemented their playoff berth. Miami beat the Jets. Miami wins the East. New England 11 wins, not going to the playoffs. Baltimore, Miami Sunday. Tennessee will face the lowest seeded team remaining, Pittsburgh, with Roethlisberger suffering a concussion today, the number 2 seed. And of course we have Indy against, the way it looks right now, San Diego next Saturday night. 2nd and 8 at the 46-yard line.
And we wish Ben Roethlisberger the best.
Yes. Hester to the 44, and just to bring you up to date in case you've been out all day and part of the evening in the NFC, the Eagles killed the Cowboys today. They go to the playoffs as the 6th seed. They go to Minneapolis next Sunday. Atlanta winds up 5. They go to Arizona. The Giants have cemented the 1 seed. Last week they did that, and Carolina wins today at the end over New Orleans to secure the number 2 seed.
You know, we talked about San Diego being that team that was come from behind that you really worry about. You don't want to play now. I think in the NFC, that team would be the Philadelphia Eagles.
The way it's turned out, especially after that performance today. Sproles to the 30. Pretty good salary drive for him tonight, huh?
I'll tell you, and everything he does, he's just so exciting. I mean, he gets a ball on a kick, he's exciting. He gets a screen, he's exciting. Here he just gets a power play. This is just a power O. Right up through the 5-hole. Watch the right guard. Goff, he's going to pull, make that block right there. I'll tell you, I mean, they have this Bronco defense defeated now. They're not putting up a whole heck of a lot of fight.
115 yards on the ground for Sproles. Hester. And he'll get dragged down, but not until he gets inside the 15 and still chugs along to the 12-yard line. That's the biggest smile Tomlinson's had all season.
Well, you know, because Hester was a tailback. Hester played the same position as Tomlinson. Then they moved him to fullback, and he was a backup fullback. Then he became the starting fullback. Now they get the lead, and they put him back at tailback, and he shows you how to run like a tailback. And you go from Tomlinson to Darren Sproles to Jacob Hester. That's not a bad running combination. Of course, you have to give the offensive line credit here. I mean, they have really beaten down this Denver Bronco defense. They have won the fight at the line of scrimmage all night.
And they, like the team, have really come into their own. They were disappointed through a good part of the season. It's had a lot to do with Tomlinson and his subpar year. Hester takes it to the 7, and this, for a San Diego fan, this is just delicious right now because the clock keeps ticking down. The game is in hand. You go into the playoffs, and as we said at the very beginning, from last rites to postseason.
Right, and you know who else is delicious for? Is the offensive line. I mean, this is what you love when you've played the whole game and you have it under control, and now you're just running out the clock. You're just running the ball right at them. Every offensive lineman in the history of the game loves this situation.
2nd and 3. Hester. They'll stop him at the 6-yard line, and that is going to take us down, barring a timeout call, to the 2-minute warning. Two minutes remaining before the San Diego Chargers start to get ready for the Indianapolis Colts next Saturday. 283.
A Pro Bowl for a Super Bowl.
Yep.
I'll take the Super Bowl.
Absolutely. Look at that. Second most in the history of a team that, as we said before, was founded in 1960 as the Los Angeles Chargers of Baron Hilton. These two teams both original members of the AFL. 3rd down and 3. Hester is the running back with 2 minutes to go. And Hester will take it inside the 5, a little bit shy of the first down. This is deja vu, unfortunately, for Mike Shanahan. The last time you had two teams fighting for a division title with a loser out of the playoffs in a game like this, 1988, when Mike was the coach of the Los Angeles Raiders. They met Chuck Knox's Seahawks at the LA Coliseum, and Seattle won the game 43-37.
Right, and when you ask him if he remembered the last time that this happened, he did remember it. And if you're in one of those playoff games and you lose it, you'll remember it for the rest of your life because there's no game next week.
Meanwhile, here is Hester putting an exclamation point on a Charger win.
High formation, again, lead power O. Oakgard pulls and leads, but right now, this Charger offensive line has just taken over the game. They're controlling the line of scrimmage, and anyone or anything that they run in, there's going to be a score. Did Norv just get a bath over there?
Ah.
I think so.
Extra point is good. San Diego tonight has had the ball 10 times. They've scored 7 touchdowns, have a field goal. They're averaging 6.9 yards a rush. And they've gained 491 yards. And what a thank you they would like to send out to the Buffalo Bills. Of course, with Buffalo beating Denver last week, coming from a 13-point deficit, overcoming another Denver lead in the 3rd quarter. That enabled the Chargers, who were flying back from Tampa and were trying to keep track of the score. They didn't get the game. They had, like every other channel available to them on their charter but that game, so they're looking at the scroll along the bottom on the various cable channels, and that's how they found out tonight's game would mean something.
And when they got the final score, I guess the whole airplane erupted, and Philip Rivers says, guys, we're throwing pillows at each other and all kinds of celebration. But last week they did what they had to. You know, they went and they beat Tampa Bay. But bigger than that, tonight they did what they had to do to get in the playoffs, win their division, get to play the Colts next week.
And what were the odds after that Atlanta loss on November 30th that Norv Turner would be getting a Gatorade shower?
I know, like 50 to 1, would those be odds?
Like 600 to 1, I think.
Oh, okay.
You would have had to fill out a 1099. Ring in the new year with T.I., Ludacris, Katy Perry right in the middle of Times Square. New Year's Eve countdown with Carson Daly right here on NBC. Chargers will win their 3rd consecutive AFC West championship.
They didn't do it the easy way this year.
Boy, oh boy. Eddie Royal up to the 42-yard line. Well, you know what? There's a parallel here in a way. If you go back to 2005 with the Pittsburgh Steelers, they had to win their last 4 regular season games, and they did. Royal makes the catch, and then they won a wild card game on the road. And then they won 2 other games on the road. And then they went to Detroit and beat Seattle. So they closed with the Great 8 and won the Super Bowl.
Right, and that's what Sean Phillips was saying the other day, that, you know, this last month, every game has been like a playoff game for us. So we're going to go into the playoffs. We win here tonight. They're going to go into the playoffs with playoff-type experience the last month.
And they needed help, and they got the help they needed. And Carolina beat Denver 2 weeks ago. Buffalo upset Denver last week. And now the Chargers can get ready for Peyton Manning and company to come in here next Saturday night. Eddie Royal makes the catch. And that's the way it's going to end, with San Diego throwing up 52 points to beat Denver 52-21. Cutler, when Rivers, well, that's about the extent of that relationship, but that figures to be a pretty good battle through the years. LaDainian Tomlinson and Phillip Rivers will be joining Andrea Kramer when we come back for the Wendy's postgame report on the other side of the break.